Happy Monstober to all you Monsterites out there. I hope you're having a wonderful month and Halloween. As I mentioned last year and during this time that I was considering not doing an art contest, a Halloween monster art contest for the first time this year in 11 years. So 10 years in a row, I have been doing the monster art contests, rewarding at least $150. The reason I stopped is just participation was getting lower and lower. With the incoming of AI and AI art and such, I'm just expecting to start seeing more of that as well. Looking at the artworks in prep for this, I had a big passion for that, and I was hoping to be doing that forever with the channel. Maybe we'll have a comeback here, or maybe in a different way. As you may have known that I did participate in my first miniature painting competition this year. It did hype me up. I enjoyed it very much. And I'm even considering going to ReaperCon and talking to them about sponsoring a competition, as you can sponsor. And I see a lot of the sponsors that do. They just give away a little medal or something, but I wouldn't mind transferring that cash prize that I used to do here over there. So at least those awesome miniature painters get some cash reward for their awesome work. This year, in honor of all those 10 years of artists giving me awesome work, I wanted to honor all those years and just have a great moment with you guys going over my personal favorites, not just the award, the top 3 winners, but my favorite choices out of the submissions, because there were really some awesome ones and I never got to really talk about them as I only gave the time to the top winners. If I'm trying to do like 3 per year to keep this thing moving, people barely watch this stuff. YouTube doesn't push to my over 100,000 subscribers. I'm gonna try to keep this nice and snappy with respect. So starting with 2015, and this is actually when I was teaching English back in the day, and I had the monster art contest only for my students. I had already started the channel, but I didn't really start it with my subscribers, as the counts there were low still, but I did show the artworks and the winners on the channel. I had this one by Paul, it looks like, and this is a glyph type monster. The monster that year, I think it was just general monster art contest, so not a particular theme of any kind, but I always loved this artwork. But it was so unique, it was so creative, and this kid was just, let's say, 10 years old. Keep in mind, this is 2015. I've forgotten some things, but I believe that was the kid that was very into Skyrim, and he would just like textbook tell me all this lore like a machine out of that game, and that was just awesome. So I can understand his passions and inspirations and such. It's definitely quite a scale above in creativity, and this is the only year I did it with the school. The next year and so on, it's going to be with the actual subscribers of the channel, so it's going to be older folk and such. This one I just wanted to feature. I really appreciated the creativity and the approach this student took with creating it in a dark atmosphere, just being lit by a torch, and that's quite a challenge. And My Little Pony are quite colorful, and to see them going with that approach to black it out, I thought that was pretty cool and pretty unique. And final one that I wanted to shout out, just awesome work here where she chose to place the scales. I think that's pretty advanced for the age range that these kids were at, so nice work there. Let's move on to 2016, where participation was from the subscribers themselves. The main one I chose here, my favorite, is by Matthew Stitt, and the theme this year was just skeletons, bones, skeletons, skulls. Matthew Stitt, I used to have a long time ago. I had a website called Kadawa.com, which was for all artists of all mediums. It was a deviant art. It was supposed to be an online gallery. I spent years working on the project and such, but it never really exploded, and then I started with YouTube and other things. He was already following me and in my forums back in the day on that website submitting his art, and what I liked about his is just the concept here. You got skeleton painting a skeleton, and it's simple. There's a certain thing with his style that he's very careful with every stroke. There's almost a discomfort in his technique, but it's like very careful, and it creates this certain uniqueness in the vibes of his artwork. And in 2017, we started to really ramp up with these. The theme here was My Little Monster, and I found this one pretty precious. So it's got a flashlight here in Little Monster, and it's creating the shadow against the wall, and I thought that's a pretty cool idea. Moving onward, this drawing, which is just a lovely trick-or-treat drawing, but nicely malevolent, with the open head and the brain juices. I enjoyed these. And then, of course, I think this was our winner that year, and that's Shelves Hot Pencil. He was participating pretty much almost every year ever since this year, I believe, if not the previous one. And the cool thing is he would always submit his concept art, his process, which I also always appreciated, though I try not to make that influence my final decisions when judging. Little Monster here, you see how big the fruit are, and it's this elfish little creature. That was a pretty fun year. And then it just ramps up. So the next year was to be a mixture, an amalgamation of a predator and venom. A venom predator. Yes. And this one, just liked what they did with it. That's one of the challenges with these like amalgamation competitions, is how to smoothly mix things together. And this one did it as smooth as you could imagine getting a venom to mix up with predator. You got the predator dreadlock type of tendril hair there. You got the mask. You got all the features. Oh yes, and that's Mark Peters, I believe. And I forgot, I do own this piece. He did mail me this when we moved. I forgot totally that I have it. I need to get it on my wall because I have a huge Venom card collection, the biggest one on YouTube from what I know. You can check out the video. I really like this one, genuinely, not because he was gonna send it or whatever to me. And I believe he did another fan art for me. I have that one hanging in my hobby room, and that's with me and the monsters around me. I had a whole little video dedicated to that. Dandy's first possible year, I think, here, and Dandy's been very active, and I believe his was the winner for the year. But again, look at it. In certain areas there's not much detail, but then the thing that sold it for me is just that giant mouth right in the middle there, the eyes being on the breast. Actually, I didn't even think about that until now. Speaking of that, the secondary eyes are there, and then the rest of it. But overall, a pretty simple piece, especially considering his later ones. And speaking of simpler, let's go to more detailed, and that was Rain Crawler. And Rain Crawler submitted 4, and so I had to choose one that I would judge. I forgot which one I did choose. I think it may have been this one, but these would be the other ones that he submitted. So shout out to you, Rain Crawler, but these are awesome. And just look at the jaggedy details everywhere. Which one's your favorite? This one's even got a little venom head. This is awesome because Predator has kind of those fish stocking kind of things. And I did look at all the other artworks, guys, all the other artists, but this video would go on forever. 2019, going with a gecko mixed with a bat mixed with mushrooms or fungus. So let's see what we got here. And there you have it. I mean, that's an awesome start. So you got a different style here, but it's great, like concept art, T-posy. You see all the mushrooms there. You see where the bat influence is the gecko influence. Very cool. Details all over the place. You got these dark areas, these crevices, these darker crevices. You got bony features. Very creative, very neat. A lot of stuff going on here. I suggest that you pause the video and take a deeper look at many of these. This was the simplest one, I think, but I had to drop one, and it was between this one and another one, and I'm sorry to the other person. This one kind of beat out that one because I just really like it. It's simple. It's got nice color theory to it. If you look in the shades, there's a nice bluish, almost violet tones going into green. So the color balance of it is pleasing to the eye. And then I just love this face. I know there's a certain kind of one of those flying dinosaurs that looks similar to this, so maybe it reminds me of that. This always catches my eye, this head. I simply love it. This one actually won first place, and this is where Dandy, who won the previous year with that Venom, right? He really pushed it over the top. It was very good. There was some awesome ones. It was a tough year, but he really outdid himself here with all the detail. Right, so it was a seahorse. So it was a seahorse and gecko mix and bats. It's kind of nice just being able to zoom in and kind of show you where I'm focusing at, and as I'm speaking about all this, looking at the details here. Yeah, this was an awesome piece. Loved it very much. Flying Devil Finger. And this one, also one of my favorites from Mark Peters. Again, great amalgamation of all the features. The fungus, the seahorse, the gecko. You see the gecko hands there. One's open facing toward you, so you see those pads that they have, the mushroom features, and then you have the bat. So there was like 4 different organisms mixed. But what's beautiful with this one is it's somewhat simple, but it has all those features and in nice unison. So very nice balance. Just look at the form here, how smooth it is. And then last but not least was this one by Raincrawler. So we see him back with his high detailed approach, and you can see all the features from top to bottom, and just look at all the work around it. You gotta appreciate it, especially for an art contest. So many things to look at here, actually. There's a centipede, and he did almost the tail of a satanic leaf-tailed gecko. And look at those connections here between. It's just nuts. I love detailed pieces. Let me know which one you loved the most. 2020. And this one was a monstrous doctor working on an assimilated monster. And I first saw this one, I wasn't sure because nothing struck out too strong. It did speak to me by how clean this one is, and so I did want to shout it out, as I think Jamie Wyatt did an awesome job here, just pulling all that stuff forward so you can see it clearly and closely, and just look how clean it is. It's nice and balanced. So we got another one. This is by Phoenix Griffin. What hit me again, and what I know I loved when I first saw it, is you got this situation. Okay, so there's no head and the mask on the neck and then working on the skull. But then it surprises you while you're looking at it, because this already kind of shocks you. So you're thinking like, how does that work? How does this make sense? And then while you're looking at this, there's things glaring at you the whole time. And it's a simple piece, but it works. It still kind of hit me unexpectedly. I was analyzing this when I realized I was the one being analyzed and watched. That's the reason why I had to pull it up in this final video going over them. Great idea there, Phoenix. Then we're back with Raincrawler again, and something highly detailed. I love when artists take what they do well and then they just push it to the next level next year. And that's what he did. Last year, he had the very detailed gecko creature thing. And this year, he put 3 different highly detailed figures in here. There's a microscope, alchemy. There's a little creature in a jar with one eye. Our World of Monsters baby Cyclops thing. We got some creature there. Like all these details, and how even this hook, it's not just a regular chain with a cuff. It's like the cuff is spikes and needles poking into the leg. Like all those little thoughts and details here and there. It's not just adding details for detail's sake, but they are unique features. You got this snake going around the wand, the ancient medical symbol. Plague Doctor mask turns into tentacles. The Necronomicon star right there. How do I know that? Well, you know, I didn't get this high position of Monster Master for no reason. Yep, this is the amalgamating one, the transforming, assimilating one. And there's a baby in there and tendrils and like plant-like. And the anatomy of the arm here is so different than here. I would love to hear him talk about this. Very creative, not just detailed. And talking about very creative, Shelves was back. And the thing with Shelves sometimes is like this one sometimes might get a little bit even too deep for something like this, because there's a lot of stuff going on here, right? There's this cosmic doctor working on this weird situation here, and the baby here, and on all these things. And he would send me a write-up, but if you're looking at this without any write-up, I mean, it's an artwork. There's a lot of things going on. There's thought in it. You got to be careful when you got too many things going on. Is it a good thing or not? Or are you balancing it right enough so that it's comprehensible to the viewer enough so that it's enjoyable for them? This one definitely has a lot of things going on. It's very creative. It's got interesting colors, interesting characters, awesome work, and it's been a pleasure to have him back year after year. Next year, we had a underwater situation with the crustacean type monster. But Aeon Oxide, this was, I think, their first year, and they just blew it out of the water. When I saw this one, I think it was definitely like, okay, I'm pretty sure I know who the winner is for first place this year. The World of Monsters skull right there. So that was a requirement. Claw and all this stuff. Just a beautiful, beautiful artwork with a lot of things going on. How they designed or figured out where the head's going to be. It's a head inside a clam, but the clam doesn't just hold that skull. It holds the whole brain that connects to the skull. So pretty awesome. Nice color balance there as well. And then this one by Jonathan Saldivar, which has done 2D and 3D stuff for us. What really strikes me about it is just the concept. It's pretty simple, but adding the eels in there coming out, that added a nice other level for me. There's there's our little skull right there. Very cool concept there. Next year was our biggest year yet. This was 2022. And so this one was my most funded year. I actually rewarded $440 of cash prizes for the top 3 winners of this one. And the theme was fantastic because, I mean, the art was fantastic. So I've got to shout out the theme there. And so it was a mushroom wizard. I think that's it, a mushroom wizard. And this is Jonathan Saldivar again that just did the 3D piece. This is his 2D piece. When I first saw this, just looking at the detail and looking how nicely rendered it is, just how clean, but then in his clean style, how many elements were added. Just that character with this, like this appeared to me like an actual artwork for some business, for some board game, some show, some bigger idea, not just my little art contest. And it was clearly for the art contest because you can see it in the themes. Because sometimes there were artworks where I'm like, okay, I think you just did this earlier in the year, and because it's a little similar to what the theme is, you're just submitting it now. That's why I would do specific ideas, themes. This one was clearly for the art contest. So I always felt very honored that he would create and spend so much time on something. And granted, it was $440 total prize pool that year, so it makes sense. If you're gonna push yourself one of these years, what a year to do it. I mean, look at the change in the brightness, the hues where it's going back and forth, and the where the light's hitting, and then the ideas. There's a bigger mushroom or some kind of trunk here, but then the mushroom's growing out of it, and that's the chair for this mushroom. He's got his own symbology here. You got this little guy here, this awesome staff over here with the open jaw and the floating other part of the jaw, which is not a mistake, obviously, and the awesome red contrasting fungus. This is one of my all-time favorites of all the years, I've got to say, honestly. I really love it. I was really impressed with it. Moving on, again, this year was just spectacular. It was awesome. If it would have continued like this, I don't know how I could stop. This was by Juanito Go. So for me, the black and white kind of penciled stuff really, I don't know, I really enjoy it if it's done really well like this and detail. Like what I love with this one is the high contrast too. Maybe it's the way they took the photo too, but it's very, very black and whitish instead of just graphites and grays. But I love the style. I love the creepy wickedness, and I want to see more art by this guy. Juanito, please, if you're watching this or if anybody knows them, shout out their Instagram. I want to see more art by them because I just found another artist, more of their art, and I was so ashamed of myself for finding it so late. So please, but also look at the flasks there, like the creativity, the ideas here, the staff. We got a staff again, and then the face itself. This is quality art. Moving to the next one, digital painting, Offering of the Spore King, Aeon Oxide, the winner of the previous year, shows up again. And what I really like about this one is just the atmosphere. It's very fantastical but harmonious, and with that yellow bright lighting and colors shining through in the forest is very calming, and it's just somewhere I would want to be. And then you've got all these details here. Look at the anatomy of this mushroom being, the face. That's why I love my type creatures, because like you have so much space to play with it, to push it from being just humanoid and having 2 eyes, for instance, to many different appearances and designs. So very cool. Moving on to Ruben. I loved this one. Possibly, I just said like the other one's one of my favorite of all. This is also one of my tops out of all the years. I simply love the creepiness, the idea behind this, the style. Even when he submitted this, I was like, this is possibly not for the contest, but just a cool creature he designed before and then just submitted it as a mushroom wizard. But I believe he even submitted or was showing work in progress for the competition on his Instagram, so it was official. But nonetheless, I love the style, and I've been looking at his images on his Instagram, which is much larger than mine. For some reason, Instagram just does not want to work with me, but his Instagram exploded a little bit. I believe it deserves a lot more, but he does a lot of art. He has his style, his creepiness look in a lot of it, and all of it, there's that body horror. If you like Junji Ito, I believe, if you like his art, then I think you need to go and find him, find Ruben on Instagram immediately, follow him, give him a shout out, tell him you loved his Mushroom Wizard on World of Monsters, and seeing it being featured, just going it into darkness and the lighting from the bottom. This and the first one, I mean, these are, for me, they really sell. Wasn't there another and of course this one also had the creepy stuff going on. So Ruben, I really wanted to apologize, and I hope you're watching this, and I'm going to mention it in one of your posts on Instagram. I just want to make this video first, in case you do watch it, that I apologize for not looking at more of your artwork over the last years, because you've submitted so much stuff that I love. I wanted to talk to you maybe about it, about maybe collaborating with you in the future with something going 3D and me painting that up, but you creating the foundation. Just something in the thoughts. Oh yes, and this guy, Tim Hoffman. And this is another thing where you'd be like, this isn't even for the competition. No, it is. And every year he submitted something and it's the same style. It's wicked, it's mixed up. You see the theme for the contest, but it's very much his own style, very stylized. And I'm sorry guys, I gotta hurry up through this video. Pause the video so I can continue, and you can continue at your own will. Like even the details on the cap here, it's very awesome, and you can see that it's a psychedelic type of situation. Very cool, shroomy art. This year was supposed to be for 2023, representing creative armor for an undead being. So I felt I had to shout this one out just because the armor type that they chose, this kind of, you know, raw muscle striation looking armor, hard armor, and great use of the skull, as they had to represent our skull as well. And what wonderful use of the skull here. It's like a undead evil bishop, you know, as they carry the incenses. This one, I mentioned this one where when the competition was out, loved the details. I love this little eye. Let's zoom in on that. Nice smile right there. All those details going down in the armor. If you enjoy something like Kingdom Death, a lot of anime, dark anime type of stuff, I think this is simply awesome. And the skull's looking brilliant as well. So always loved this one. This one was Jonathan Saldivar. So Jonathan, the one that did the awesome one with the little mushroom guy, so he submitted this. Before that, he did 3D stuff. This guy is a serious, it looks like by someone called Manager. This is one of those where I was like, did they possibly do this art before and then just submit it to the competition because it just came up? I was never too sure if it was specifically created for the competition, because the armor's there, but it's not a significant piece. But overall, the render and the artwork is excellent. Look at the fish, the realism of the fish, the realism of the render, the shading, making it pop and look 3D. And the reason that I also wasn't sure, because it kind of cuts in certain areas, like the spear, so I was like, maybe there's more to this. If not, I mean, they did sign it here and put our skull here, but maybe it looks like an afterthought too, so it doesn't look like that's part of the whole situation. So that may have been the case, that it wasn't for the art contest truly, but I don't know. If you're the artist of this, do let me know if it was, so I don't just put you down for that. But nonetheless, this is an awesome artwork. The armor is cool, smooth chitin, but the undeadness is what's just awesome here, and the pieces even coming off of it. I didn't even notice that before. I realized I love like low colored, like black and white type art, which brings me to the next one, which is Dandy's back. And this was last year, 2024. Double Dandy submitted. This is for two giant monsters, one being the skull, the Cyclops skull from World of Monsters, our logo, and they're supposed to be battling, and the other one is releasing, something's coming off of him, some little creatures that are helping him in the battle. So you can see that here with his little creatures coming out, and they're attacking this one. And this one was awesome, just the whole concept of this being recorded like a found footage type of thing. She's running here, she's got the baby, it says ghoul. It was a big meme on our channel. I made a video where I just took all the cuts from another video where I said ghoul. I love little shout outs. Dandy's been very active with our Discord and everything for years. He does monthly art competitions just for fun on there if you're interested. Everything going on, and the perspective of the foot coming forward to you just so you feel like you're the one holding the camera. Very cool, and things are going down. I mean, there's jets right there. Awesome work. Next one. This one I would almost think, okay, this is not for the contest. They just did this somewhere for something or a comic and they just decided to submit it. But now when you look at the details now, you got the Cyclops skull, you got the big monsters fighting and the little ones helping, looking like they're trying to help the dragon possibly. It looks like it was for the competition, but it's a really beautifully well done piece. Quite a mix of colors, but they're still harmoniously working together, and just how your eye flows around it with the textures. Very well done art piece. Totally appreciated. And that was Mark Whitfield in that one. And this is Tim Hoffman back. And you know who this is because he did that psychedelic mushroom wizard. And you got the two giant monsters here. One of them's got the little worms. So he spouts out these tiny creatures that help battle this cyborgish, cycloptic creature in X edition. Like just adding X. What is that? Where did that come from? X edition. But then it has World of Monsters on the top. When somebody does this for your competition, you just feel so nice and warm inside to see somebody put so much effort for the completion of something, not just putting a cool idea, concept, and maybe not finishing here or just leaving it, but creating a whole ensemble that has balance in and of itself just for your request. Well, and possibly winning money, but I don't think these guys, any of them really were so after that, but to really push their creativity and skill out of all these years. And again, what he did here is he took what he's good at and he went to the next level, and he put such a complex idea that this competition theme was, and he somehow presented it in like a tattoo version that fits in, you know, whatever size rectangle that's just rendered understandably. Just look at the detail of like things spouting, things flying about. It's really amazing. So after all these years, it brings me a little bit of sadness that I didn't run it again, but knowing that the outcome wouldn't be that great, it brings me back to reality. And again, I don't blame the followers, myself. I blame just change and YouTube changing things and us putting too much hope in, or myself putting too much hope in YouTube and my collaboration within and with it. And that's changed and I'm moving forward. So we'll see. I do want to continue some contests of some sort, so I may just get involved with miniature painting. If not on the channel more, then like I said, at some actual event like ReaperCon. So if you're interested, you can see me there. I hope you enjoyed this. Happy Monstober in October 2025 to you. Let's see what the next year brings to us. Rock on, all ye awesome Monsterites out there. And thanks for the participations, the courage, and the support, and the mutual joy that we have experienced together.